Yes, sir! Oh, yeah, yes, checkdown. Nathan McCreary, Brandon Joseph, and Coach Ron Jackson. Thank you guys for hopping on. Coach, looking great. Brandon, the background looks crisp tonight. Let's go.
Looks even better in the nighttime.
Yeah, I love it. I thought about turning I've got some LED lights in here, but I don't know. Coach, you've been doing some traveling. Son got married. Congratulations on that front. How was the wedding and all that good stuff?
You know, it was fantastic. My son's happy. We got a beautiful bride. I got to see a lot of family. She's got a beautiful family. She's a beautiful young
She's
lady.
beautiful.
Well, thank you. He's lucky. I told him I hope to have 10 grandbabies.
By the way, your bride looked beautiful as well. The photos that you've been sharing have been great, beautiful, fantastic. Love that.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I'm a lucky man. My wife is stunning. She looks the same to me now as she did 30 years ago, and
Yeah.
I'm awful fortunate. She's we're two different people. She's got the brain smarts, and I got the oil changing smarts. So
you got to have both. It's a good balance. It's a good balance. Brandon, how the heck are you? What's been going on in your world?
A little bit of hand, foot, and mouth. That's about.
Oh, okay. So you got the diagnosis, the what do they call it, the slap face disease or something, or because you get like a red something on your face?
Hell on earth. That's what I call it.
Hell on earth. Well, and it's very contagious.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we postponed.
Living the dream.
Yes, of course. And additional baby and baby mama and all the good, not baby mama, your wife is doing well.
She is the baby mama.
She is.
All the babies.
That's right. She pregnant with baby number 3. So we look forward to, are y'all working through that whole name thing?
No, it's already been decided.
Okay. Well, you don't have to reveal it yet, but just going through some of these rosters to spin it back to the FCS, you see some pretty amazing, pretty crazy names that are out there that you're like, dang, I definitely could name my son or daughter that. That's pretty cool. All right, let's get into it. We are going to jump into the show. Let's see if this works. And okay, that's not what we want. Here we go. Yeah, I had some issues, Coach, last week without you. I really needed you here. All right, let me center you up here, Coach Jackson. There you go. And let's publish that one. All right, coming up, we've got some FCS news to talk about. FCS Media Days continue. And we got our conference outlooks. I got another big question. I actually really enjoyed what we did last week, Brandon. Just kind of throwing a question out there that kind of makes you think about some things. And I got another one. I did not send it to you guys. So, as a matter of fact, I didn't send anything to you guys at all. So, flying by the seat of our pants, as it were. Those watching live, make sure you comment in the chat. I see Chris in there and Kobe Cluth. Taco Dowler is a great name. Taco Dowler is a great, not his given name, however. But, and Austin 4252 with Axum in the chat. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some Southland stuff coming up and some heavy SFA content, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and get into the news that we've got to look forward to. Well, that's not what I wanted. Hang on. I'm doing my part. All right. One of the things that came out this week was Gardner Webb had 32 players pulled in from the transfer portal. And one thing I just want to throw it out there to you guys, is this the future of, I even say G6 or G5, whatever it's going to be? Is this the future of what college football is looking like? You're talking a third of your roster literally being plucked from, they lost 22 into the transfer portal. They bring in 32. Of course, they have a new head coach over there. Brandon, your thoughts on a 32 playoff haul from the transfer portal for Gardner Webb?
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is indicative of it's going to be the future of college sports. I mean, if this Senate bill gets passed and we're limited to one free transfer, that will put things more in line with the way they were, I would say, pre, 2020 COVID year. Ever since the COVID year, we've had crazy, extra years and things like that, and the ability to transfer. If that gets passed, which, I mean, 50-50 on if it even gets to a vote before the end of the week, or next week before the Senate breaks. I think that's one thing. And the second thing is, do they have the votes to pass it? I don't know if we get some form of, legislation, whether it be from, a conference making the rules that other conferences have to abide by, i.e. the SEC or Congress. I think that's the only way you can quell it. If not, if we have this quote unquote wild, wild west of transfers and, no repercussions for transferring, I think you will see things like that. I mean, I know for a fact there's a lot of power, not like the upper end ones, not ones you'll see in the single digits of rankings, but there's a lot of power for conference schools that look to G6 and FCS schools and go, okay, you will be my farm system.
Yeah.
You will play guys, and then we'll take the ones that we feel will fit us best at the next level. And if you have multiple schools looking like that in that way, then yeah, you're going to lose 22 guys. And then a coaching change, you're bound to lose, 5-6 guys just based on compatibility of, okay, I'm going to go with my coach, especially if they're moving up. And we saw it last year with a lot of guys from South Dakota State. Some guys were able to be pulled and moved up to follow their coach. I mean, we're going to see that, and there's going to be a multitude of factors. Coaches leaving, whether if they get a new job, then yeah, some players will follow. You're going to see coaches, just get fired, and some players not mesh with their new coach or whatever. And then you're going to see the farming of talent from, the Power Four, whether they take from the G6 or the FCS. Well, if you're taking from the G6 got to fill somewhere, and they're going to fill from the FCS.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit misleading because you do have a coaching chain. You'll see a lot of UT Permian Basin, which is where the new head coach for Gardner-Webb came. But Coach Jackson, as someone's been around the football just world for so long, how do you feel? Is it just the world, as the world turns, it changes? Or does this kind of hurt your heart a little bit to think that this could literally be what we are seeing at the FCS level and other programs mid-major level?
Well, it doesn't really hurt my heart. It hurts my head more than anything because you can't keep up with who's on your team. So, smaller schools and smaller programs, they rely a lot on regionality and familiarity. The fans like to know who my players are. Now, I think 30, 40 every time is a little excessive.
Yeah.
But more teams are doing it. First team I remember doing that is University of Texas San Antonio. They didn't win a game one year, and then the next year they got 75 new players or something like that. The main issue for the kid is where's my coach going? Used to be back in the old days, you would sign your scholarship and show up, and the guy that recruited you'd already been fired and gone on someplace else, and you was just stuck. So the main issue is when the coach moves on. Now, I think the one good thing about it is there are some fan bases that are kind of thirsty for new players, and they take we getting 40 new ones in. It's very exciting for them. But then you flip around on the other side, and you got a team like Montana that don't nobody want to leave, and there's only so many opportunities. But I think you see it more in the schools that um, need a boost, quote unquote, than you will the more stable ones. The question that I have is, when are these son of guns going to start graduating from college? Because you got some schools like Tennessee State that got hit with a APR violation. Well, hell,
Right.
they've had 175 kids transfer in the last couple of years. I don't know how you expect them to graduate. And when the kids get to the other school, well, hell, if you want a degree, you got to have at least 30, 40 hours from the school that's going to give you the degree. And if you've transferred 5 times in 5 years, I don't see how that's going to. Somebody's walking around with a bunch of electives, and I probably better leave it at that.
Well, and just to bring the fan base back around, is you love players you can follow for a little bit, and that seems to be, you just kind of, you hate to see that one guy come to your program. You're like, yes, let's build around him, and then he's gone. That's just kind of the
Well,
way it is.
I'll tell you what's even crazier than that. The player that you get that leaves and does well, the old school is still hyping him up like he still playing there.
That's
I
true.
think I think Coach Plow out at UC Davis. We interviewed him last year, the year before, and
Yeah.
I thought he had a great take on it, where he said that he encourages he encourages people to transfer because he wants to get somebody else in and say, listen, you can do the same thing that guy is. Now you got to get here and ball out,
Right.
and take off. But
Yeah, that was going to be my point exactly. If you're putting them in the environment where, hey, that's the greatest recruiting tool you can have, of, hey, I can be a platform. If you embrace what you are, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Kirk Cignetti, he's basically said, I'm not trying to recruit a quarterback every year. I'm going to find the best quarterback that can lead my program, and I'm going to turn them into the number one pick. Fernando Mendoza, Kobe Kluth talked about Iowa State. Iowa State is the perfect example of this modern era of college football. Matt Campbell leaves to take the Penn State job. Takes, I believe, at least 25 players from Iowa State over to Penn State. Where does Iowa State get that talent from? They're not taking it from another top seed in the Big 12 or the SEC. No, they're going to have to go to the G6 and conversely the FCS, and that's going to be the trickle-down effect. So I think that's just how the way college football is shaping out. And unless there's a fix for it, I mean, it's something that everybody goes, okay, it will be handled, but unless it's explicitly handled, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this. And I think a lot of schools view this as the easiest way to, especially at the FCS level. You get players that can play, and you know they can play at the FBS level. I can sell them if I'm a Power 4 school on being a role player potentially for a year if I give them something they can't get at the FCS level.
Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah.
That's the point I was getting at, Brandon. A lot of times it's easier for the FCS guy. He may be a backup on an FCS team, and he may move up to an FBS team, and but they may have gotten him just to be on the scout team. But let's just say hypothetically they're going to pay him $25,000-$30,000. Well, if he gets $30,000-$40,000 to play on the scout team with the University of Tennessee, that's probably a step up than starting at Morehead State.
Yeah.
But the kid, the player's got to be the one to figure out what fits best for me. But there are going to be a lot of littered bodies of thousandaires with no degrees here in about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. This kind of goes to our big question. I'm not going to give it away, but we'll get to it. Hey, up next, the preseason All-American list. The teams were announced. No real surprise on some of these. We'll go ahead and take a look at the All-American offense team that was announced. Bo Brungard and Justin Lamson there at quarterback, Eli Gilman, Adam Jones, and Luke Yoder. What's the names, man? They're coming back. We'd love to see it. They're at running back, Marquez Buchanan, Samuel Gabato Jr., Taco Daller. They're at wide receiver. Ryder Kurtz, they're at Cornell. At the tight end spot, getting an All-American nod. And then you've got Lee at Youngstown State, Gray, Woodard, Sales Jr., Fleshman, and Christensen on the offensive line there for the All-American offense. And then defensively, it is Stone King, who we heard so much about, still there at Furman, Lance Rucker there at North Dakota, Michael Wells, Youngstown State, Camden Bird, and Andrew Huff on the defensive line. Linebackers, Ty Niekamp is still there at Illinois State. We've talked about them, who they're going to build around. It could be that young man. Peyton Wing for Montana State. Porter Connors there at Cal. Davis. Rohan Davey. Coach Jackson, I think you said he was one of your favorite players to watch last year. Rhode Island. Mikey Amato, Jake Delamato as well. Abu Kamara, Caden Daller, Rex Connors, a name, him and his brother there at UC Davis. Damian Henderson for Harvard in the Ivy League getting the nod. Christopher Jean at Central Connecticut, Ken Moore at Western Carolina, and Dylan Rousey there at Murray State. Guys, this is always kind of a fun time to take a look at these All-American guys, because these are the names, Brandon, that we saw all last year, and you kind of expect them to come up and step up. It's nice to get that All-American nod. It's on your resume the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for a lot of these players to be all Americans, they know it's nice to have, but they got to prove that they deserve it. I think the thing that stands out to me, and you take a look and you're seeing the offensive All American team, is it's a lot of names from the conferences we expect, the ones with
Yeah.
the biggest expectations, the one that we expect to make up the bulk of the final 8 in the playoff as well. So there's no real surprises there for me, at least on the offensive side of the ball. These are the most important players on the teams with the highest expectations, let's say. There, I think, you know, y- just pointing out, South Dakota State, we kind of focus on them almost every week there. I mean, you would expect more of those guys to be in there just because of the brand that they like to play football. And that just shows that things have been missing there, at least for the better part of last year for the Jackrabbits. But again, this means nothing if your team only wins 6 games. I mean, I think Justin Lamson will be the first to say, it's nice being a preseason All-American, but if we don't go back out there and we're not playing in the Final Four, for a shot to win the national championship, to go back to back, it means nothing to him or that team in general.
I meant to mention, this is Sports Illustrated FCS Central. Zach McKinnell and Tim Rosario, or is it Tom Rosario? Tim Rosario, I think, do a great job there with that. But Coach Jackson, like Brandon said, you see these names, you see these logos. These are the teams that have been in the top, and it seems like at the FCS level, you might need 1 or 2 guys, to build around. You don't need. I mean, obviously it's a team game, but at this level, sometimes that one extra spark can make all the difference.
Yeah, well, the thing that I like about the list, Nathan, I'm gonna have to apologize in advance to you. I got my glasses on and everything, and hell, I can't see that the little
Don't
names
you get in
down in
close. Get
there.
in close.
And so I can't tell who's on the team, but one of the things that I was kind of impressed with, or one, let me start on the negative side. There
Yeah.
there ought to be some more kids from the from Mercer. If Mercer's that good, and there might be 1 or 2 on there for all I know, but if Mercer's as good as everybody says that they are, there ought to be at least a player or 2
Now
on
remember,
that
this is
team.
first team. They end up going through the 3rd team, and I did not bring those in because we just have of time constraints. But yeah, you're right. You do look at some of
There
those
ain't
teams.
nobody on the second team either.
Oh,
Sorry. There's
Yeah,
Braden Smith is
I
on
know.
the second team.
Braden Smith should be on there, the wide receiver. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But no, yeah.
yeah.
To your point, it's the tiers, right? Where's Mercer fit in that tier?
Yeah. But the good thing, and I told Tim Rosario that the thing that I respected about the team is that they had the guts to name 2 quarterbacks. Typically, I don't like to first team anything, but
Yeah.
one of them ought to be second team. But in this particular case, they had the guts to go ahead and put 2 of them on there. A couple of years ago, there was a kid named Josh Carter. I thought that should have been named with the other 4 running backs that they put out there, and somebody told me, well, which one would you take off? And I told him, hell, I wouldn't take none of them off. I would add the one that's deserving.
Yeah.
Both those guys at quarterback are tremendous leaders of their teams and are both deserving. This is one instance that it would be a disservice naming either one of those guys second team All American.
Yeah. By the way,
Well,
Zach
they named 3 more second team quarterbacks. So.
Zach McKinnell joins in. Mercer, I was thinking Mercer doesn't have anyone coming back because the coaching changed and Joel Taylor brought half of West Georgia to his team. So thanks, Zach, for checking in. That's just the way it is, though, right? That's just the way it is.
You joke about, you have 2 on the first team, 3 on the second team, but that's just how good the competition is, that it really is tough to separate those groupings. Now let's compare it and bookmark it. Let's compare it to the end of the year and what those All-Americans look like. That's the best part about All-American lists, is we can all name preseason All-Americans. It's the postseason All-American, the one that matters.
Absolutely.
And it's fun to see how these guys progress. Do they live up to what we expect them to? But I think it's more importantly, you take a look at that offense again, and we don't have to dwell on it for too long. This is what we've been talking about for years in the FCS. You take a look at that offense up there. That's a team that can definitely win some games, let's say in the ACC and the Big 12. I mean, if you give me that in there.
Coach can't see it, but trust his coach.
Yeah, I'm better than, a lot of these teams, at the lower end of FBS programs, I'd take that against Wake Forest in a football game, hands down.
And by the way, if you didn't get a chance to see Craig Haley's interview with Eli Gilman, he talked about staying there at Montana. He's a Minnesota kid, and obviously offers came, and he said Montana is where I'm staying, and that's the kind of the feels that get you, because the kid just loves football, and it's not about. He says I'm going to make money eventually doing something. If it's not in football, it's in something else. Luxury car dealership, I think, is what he mentioned he wanted to do.
He's going to make money in football.
He's going to make money in football. But it could start later, sooner rather than later, if he chose to go, start at, wherever. I mean, so anyway.
But for him, like Montana or Iowa, I mean, I wouldn't go play in Iowa's offense if you paid me. I mean, that offense is, leathernecks, 1943 style still to this day. And, sometimes it's not just, the glitz and glamour of going to the Big Ten or something like that. He's in a place where scouts know where to find him. Like his pro day, we'll have NFL teams there.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, the NFL don't miss when it comes to knowing talent or anything like that. If you're in a situation like that young man right there, his girlfriend might be in Montana and she's not she's not in and if he transfers, then she's in the transfer portal. There's other things. Right. The other thing a lot of these kids miss out is the relationships that you make during that time. If something happens and you don't go to the NFL and you want to be an assistant coach or something like that, you might not have the same leverage at the new school that you had at your old school. So every kid, I like it. Every kid gets an opportunity to make their own decision, make what's best for him. But that young man there, hell, it wouldn't matter if he was playing down here in Cumberland, Tennessee. He's going to be straight in the NFL.
Yeah. He's going to do well. Thanks, Zach, again. Yeah, leaving off Andrew Bodie, we're still trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. DJ Williams and Ty Pennington there at NAU off the list. A lot of good quarterbacks, a lot of good corners. We're about to see them in action here as the season gets underway. They did also release the 40th anniversary watch list for the Walter Payton Award. We're going to run through these very quickly, gentlemen, as we'll start with the quarterbacks. Kelly Ayotte, Andrew Bodie is there, Bo Brungard, Devin Farrell, Colin Hurst now at West Georgia, Justin Lamson, of course, Chase Mason, Chris Parsons, Ty Pennington, there he is, Dante Reed at Yale, and DJ Williams. Those are the quarterbacks that we kind of expected to be there. Coach Jackson, anyone that stands out to you?
They all stand out to me. This has to be. I wish one of our fans would do a little research and tell me has there ever been another time in the FCS, maybe back in the 01 years, but has there ever been a time in the FCS that we have had this many quality quarterbacks basically across the spectrum ever? Every one of these guys on this list could be first team All-American. I personally am interested in the kid from Southern Illinois because he was putting up.
Got to stay healthy, Coach. He's got to stay healthy
every time. So if he stays healthy, there's no telling what kind of numbers that he puts up. And he plays for a great coach, Nick Hill, out there at Southern Illinois, who's a quarterback. I think Nick played at Green Bay for a second or something like that. He's in a fantastic situation if he can stay healthy.
Brandon, you see the list of quarterbacks there. A lot of 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1". You got Chase Mason, the tallest one here at 6'4". DJ Williams at 6'3". Whether that's accurate or not is a question mark. But do you see someone here standing out as a likely NFL, potential, a diamond in the rough here?
Yeah, that's really tough. I think Chase Mason, if he can perform, up to the standard that we expect, stay healthy too. He's got to stay on the field. He'll definitely get a look. 6'4". He has that big body. He's able to run the ball and throw the ball a little bit. The kid from Alabama State, I think, is a very interesting prospect. If he can do it again, I think that's the whole thing, is if he can replicate how great he was last year and keep on doing it, I think a lot of people are going to look at him and go, okay, this may be somebody that we could take a flyer on, have a little bit of a project with. I think all of these guys that are, 6'1" and shorter, I mean, that's the biggest deterrent on why they're not, FBS, more hype being talked about. There are some pretty bad quarterbacks at the FBS level. There are some pretty bad backup quarterbacks as well at the FBS level. But they may be 6'4", 6'5", and that's what separates them. Lamson will get a look, especially if they find themselves in a championship game again. But yeah, like everybody else, I think this DJ Williams kid, if he can stay healthy, he's a very intriguing prospect.
Yeah.
And somebody like Dante Reno, you know that he's well coached. I think that's the huge thing for him. He's always been well coached. He is very, I don't want to put like, the Yale quarterback, he's very smart, but he's going to be a guy that a lot of teams bring in because, I mean, even a student at Yale will always get a look, or Ivy League student, if they want to play football at the next level, because the complexity of, hey, you have to do all this for schoolwork and learn football. There's obviously, some ability there from a mental standpoint to learn the game. They will get a look to see if they could hang in the NFL, and it may not be as a quarterback. They may move them to a receiver or a tight end or something like that. I think a lot of those Ivy League guys, they are beloved by NFL coaches because of their depth of knowledge and their ability to process information, complex information, that if there is a physical ability to get them on the football field, whether it be at the position that they come in or they played in college, they will bring them in-house to try to morph them into something.
Yeah, definitely is something. Let's move on to our running backs. For some reason, Gardner Webb's got a two-headed bulldog here. The AI wouldn't change it. So sorry, Gardner Webb fans.
They can scarier than they've been in the past.
It is. And Adam Jones is still black. Jason Brooks, Ness Davis, Victor Dawson, MJ Flowers, Eli Gilman, Carson Greasock, Tyler Hines, Adam Jones, Jabril Mace. Boy, that guy is fantastic there at Villanova. Should run through the Patriot League. Charles Pierre Jr. and Luke Yoder are running back nominees. For wide receiver, here we go. It is Marquez Buchanan, Taco Dowler, Samuel Gabato Jr., Gavin Lachow, by the way. Someone to watch for there for Dayton, and he's got a 1-2 punch. We'll talk about his returning receiver there on the other side for them. And Bucknell, Sam Milligan, Bugs Mortimer, another player, SFA, fantastic player. It's got to stay healthy. Yeah, he's got to stay healthy. Chance Peterson and Braden Smith.
Sound like he's part of the racket. He'll handle you. Get old Bugs Mortimer, you see?
Yeah, Bugs Mortimer. See, you don't want to cross him, huh?
Wasn't the guy that at the end of Trading Places named Mortimer or something?
Oh my God, you're throwing it back, Coach. Trading Places.
Yeah. At the very end, when
Merry
they
New
was back,
Year.
when they was back, when they found that little bit of money and they was back, that's his name was Mortimer too.
Probably. I don't know. All right, moving on. Our special teams love Luke Barnes there at Elon. To see Ben Shrewsbury, DeAndre Buchanan, Bugs Mortimer again for as a kick returner, and Jabril Mace also returning punts, I think, for Villanova, earned that Walter Payton nominee selection.
I don't want to turn this into just ragging on people's name, but there's any more of a punter's name than Ben Shrewsbury? Like, is there any more of Ben Shrewsbury on a punt?
Yeah. By the way, Austin chimes in saying Bugs is going to be replacing Kylan Harris as a primary slot receiver, and he can fly too. So see if he can catch the football. That will be huge. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next topics. It's still media days that we've had popping up. So we're going to start with UAC. They had their media days this week in your preseason poll. Abilene Christian, Tarleton State, Austin Peay, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas. That's a little bit of a surprise in my opinion. Nathan Brown there at Central Arkansas was up there towards the top last couple seasons. He's taken a dive down there at 5th in the UAC, West Georgia, North Alabama, and of course, West Florida. Abilene Christian, the story, Keith Patterson's done an amazing job there. It seems like that team is really fit to kind of compete. Of course, Tarleton State right on their heels. Chris Parsons there at Austin Peay can make a ton of a difference. And then you're going to have to find out what West Georgia looks like with a new coach. They're coming over from Presbyterian, and what what Nathan Brown can do there at Central Arkansas. Coach Jackson, I know you have a heart after UAC, EKU sitting there. What's your thoughts overall here as the media day comes out? You got your preseason poll.
Well, before I get into that, I do want to send a shout out to my banana pudding cheesecake honey, Kendra Sheehan. I thought she did a fantastic job at the media days. I think the US, but moving forward, I think the UAC is to me, it's top to bottom. It's the most competitive conference
Yeah.
in the country. The top 4 or 5 right there. I'll be interested to see where Eastern Kentucky and North Alabama kind of fall into those into that category. I think they're right on time. I'd go ahead and pick Abilene Christian over Tarleton too, but I do believe the sleeper in that group of folks is going to be Austin P. But listen, every day it wouldn't surprise me if you got what was it, 8 teams in there, 7-1, 7-1. You have 2 teams at 7-1 that win the thing, and then everybody else is either 4-3 or 3-4 the rest of the way. So
Yeah.
it's a fantastic conference. It's loaded with good talent. Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to pick against the order, but I think they're very competitive. And I'll say this: I don't believe West Florida. They could be like that West Georgia team when they first come in. They got smoked or got smacked around a little bit in the
Yeah.
win-loss category, but they played everybody tough. And I think West Florida is the same thing. It might not be the best, the sexiest pick in the world, but I'm going to bet you $1 to a dime that West Florida does not end up in last.
Ooh. Okay. You listening, Brandon? Nah, Brandon. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
I'll make
so
$1.10 off of that.
So what's interesting about this, Brandon, Joseph, is Abilene Christian and Tarleton both going to replace their quarterback. Stone Earl is gone for Abilene Christian. Gabala's there for Tarleton State. Chris Parsons, as Coach mentioned, coming back for Austin P. That's kind of, to me, that's a huge deal. Now, you do have Cannon Gibson, who's coming in from UT Permian Basin, has had a lot of the success there at the D2 level. Will it translate? You never know. And for Tarleton State, it's Braden Locke, who's kind of been a well-traveled quarterback and trying to find a space. He's very talented. See how they show up. But your thoughts on the preseason poll and the how much of starting quarterback returning is kind of a piece of that puzzle?
Yeah, I think it's a benefit for early in the year. It's just that ramp up and getting back to it. You don't have to spend, the first couple of practices. And if you think about it as a linear thing, Austin P, they're going to spend the first couple of practices getting back to it. Abilene Christian, Tarleton State, they're going to spend the first couple of practices. Okay, this is what we try to do on this. The installation factor, just time. The time is the issue there. Bringing in a new quarterback just takes them a little bit longer to get up to speed. So it is a benefit. And I would say the first 2 or 3 games, just where you get started and wrapping up. But by the time you hit, week 4, game 4, it shouldn't be, the cream should rise. If you are a talented quarterback, you should be there. If you're still having trouble figuring out the offense, come week 4 or 5, or getting in the flow of things, getting that chemistry with the receivers at that point, then you're not the guy. You may be serviceable, but you're not the guy that's going to lead the team or be able to put the team on your back at that point. I think the coach's point, one in the UAC could very well finish 5th. And I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, that's just and to Coach's point, the depth. And sometimes it's not the best thing to have that much depth in there, but there's not a lot of separation, I feel, between these teams where the execution wise, and we've seen it year after year, where there'll be 1 or 2 teams that we go, okay, they should be first or second in conference, and it's been North Alabama a couple times, and it's been Central Arkansas a couple times that we expect them to do well, and they just don't live up to it at times there as well. But I think that the top 3 should be in that contention to finish there, but I don't see a reason where, or I don't see where I could be confident and say that's a surefire fait accompli. I could see a scenario where Tarleton State loses 3 games in a row, and all of a sudden they come out their 5th in the at the end of the season. So I just think looking at that, I like Coach said, you can't argue with the order, the 8 in the order. But in West Florida, yeah, they will be a lot like West Georgia. They're going to make teams play 4 quarters. It may not look well at the end. The score may get out of hand just because they don't have the depth. They don't have the horses there to compete over 4 quarters right now. But they're going to start games very well. They're going to be very competitive for the first half and out of the break. So I think this is going to be a fun team to watch, but the final score is not going to be indicative of the way they play. But, yeah, the order is fine for me.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon. Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan.
No, I was going to say Brandon Haddock in with North Alabama will win at least 6 games this year. But they need to. They're opening that brand new stadium. They want to get those fans fired up early and keep them fired up the rest of the year, Coach. Go ahead.
Well, I just wonder the UAC right now to me is a two team bid league, but very strong on 3 teams. So and if they get 3 out of 8 in the in the tournament at the end of the year, I think it bodes for how strong that conference is. So I'd like to know people's opinion on how many bids the UAC deserves.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I remember, and I think we may have touched on this last week when you were traveling. North Dakota State loses they're out. So that theoretically opens up a bit. I don't see the committee just rubber stamping another team from the Valley. I can't see that with the heart of heart. Now, will they rubber stamp another team from the Big Sky? Maybe. I don't know with this committee. They kind of do weird things sometimes. But also, you have to remember a couple of conferences have been gutted. Absolutely gutted. The CAA gutted. So
whoa! They added Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
Gutted.
That's a rubber stamp potentially for a second bid.
We'll
there
talk
as well.
about the CAA coming up.
But yeah, no disrespect to the Sacred Heart and the cachet that they may have in that committee's conference room. But
come on, Pions.
I think that there will be a couple more bids up there that and we've done this the past couple of years where we go, okay, we know for a fact this conference getting 2 or 3 in. I think there'll be a couple more that we go, okay, there may be more in play. We'll get some actual at-larges in play.
Yeah,
I think you've got to at some point UAC. Listen, when Stephen F. Austin was in there, boy, you felt like that was such a strong conference. Then they jump back to the Southland. Some things move on. Now you got a brand new West Florida team in the conference as well. You got to have somebody like EKU or Austin P. Central Arkansas, you thought it was going to be them, step up. West Georgia is on the cusp. North Alabama hasn't really been there, but you certainly feel like they've got the tools there in Florence, Alabama with the pipelines. So I think, Coach, to both your points, 3 teams, I think you got 1, 2, but who the rest is, it's going to be fun to watch. That's why.
And to the comment you just put up there from Zach, if any of these teams lose to West Florida, that's the bad loss.
It's a bad loss.
Yeah.
It's a bad loss.
I appreciate you reading that too, Brandon, because I sure in the hell couldn't see it.
Coach, we can get you a bigger screen or something. All right. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on the MEAC Media Day. Their poll was released. South Carolina State, no surprise. North Carolina Central, Delaware State getting first place votes. Michael Vick in Norfolk State getting a first place vote. I wonder who
made him a first place vote.
Cast that vote.
I need them to release the poll. And who voted? It better not have been the coaches in there. Mike Vick voted for himself.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Now, we've talked about, though, they send out those emails to all kind of media folks, and God knows who. Anyway, South Carolina State's going to be replacing their quarterback. It looks like it's going to be Bryce Bowens, a junior, coming back with the most experience. So that will be your starting quarterback. Lots of people, of course, the eyes are on Deshaun Jackson, Coach Jackson, as it were. Delaware State really feel like they're up and coming. Your thoughts here on the MEAC? South Carolina State comes punching usually late in the season and takes the title.
Yeah, the MEAC is as competitive as it is and has been. I hate to see Howard down there at the very bottom, but they earned that.
Yes, your daughter, right? She's Howard.
Yeah. I'm like everybody else. I'm going to be watching Delaware State. One, because they got the fierce uniforms in the whole.
No doubt. No doubt.
But 2, I want to see Deshaun Jackson kind of grow as a coach. There's a couple of things that happened to him kind of at the end of the season last year that I thought were just kind of rookie mistakes. But for the most part, I think that he has done a good job as a legitimate coach and not just being an NFL personality over there on the sidelines. I'm hoping the same thing happens for my friend Michael Vick at Norfolk
And
State. He's
Marshall
got a little
Falk
bit,
is at Southern.
and Marshall Falk
Yeah.
down at Southern. Yeah, I'd like to see these guys. I've always thought that sometimes you can't coach what you can do. So guys like that to me kind of struggle. But Deshaun Jackson didn't. His issues were more clock management, game management. So if he can put that together, he could be one of your more up and coming coaches for an FBS school here on further down the line.
And he's got a returner who was second string, got some experience coming in at quarterback. So they're not starting fresh. So that should be a huge benefit there for Delaware State. Gonna be fun. By the way, Morgan State. There's a lot of people who think Morgan State could find their way top 2, top 3 there in the MEAC.
Their program. They can follow their program as far as I'm concerned. Morgan State, whatever.
All right. Up next, it's the media day from Southern Conference. Mercer picking up the number 1 nod. I think that probably had to do something with legacy. As Tennessee Tech comes in second, ETSU, Western Carolina, Chattanooga, Furman, Wofford, Samford, Citadel, and VMI. Of course, Mercer brings back their wide receiver, Braden Smith. They've got a new coach over there, and Joel Taylor, who came from West Georgia. He's familiar with the program, Brandon. That's got to be very comfortable for that, not only for the football, the athletic department, but the community having Joel Taylor there at Mercer.
Yeah, I'm a guy who has spent some time in the area and also recruited the area very well, especially at his time at West Georgia. So, yeah, it's just you feel confident if you are Mercer with the loss of Mike Jacobs leaving the program that you replaced him with somebody who is Georgia through and through. And we've said it many times. If you can recruit Georgia well, you'll have a shot to win some football games. The toughest thing about recruiting the
Brandon left.
Got it.
Brazelton Wi-Fi. Yeah, Coach Zach steps in. Tennessee Tech not being the favorite is madness. Again, conferences do this. They like those legacy teams, and they give them that little extra nod. And I think that's what has happened here. And so I'm gonna pop Brandon out of there. And so listen. It is what it is, but Tennessee Tech's got a good football team. Mercer, by the way, brought in the quarterback Jalen King by way of Florida State. He was at ETSU. He comes in conference there at Mercer. So you're expecting big things there, Coach Jackson, from the Mercer Bears.
Yeah, I saw Jalen King play when he was a freshman at Gardner Webb, and he's a fantastic athlete. And going in with Coach Taylor's offense and Coach Taylor's mindset, he's going to be hard to handle. Here's what I think. This might be the first time I'm going to disagree with Zach McKinnell. And folks, I don't mind telling you, Zach's got a whole lot more smarts than I do, so listen to him instead of me. But nonetheless, Tennessee Tech's got a great coach. They got great facilities. They were better facilities than what they had.
They are improving.
I like Coach Wilder. I like the way he does things, but they come from the OVC, and the OVC is not necessarily the highest rated conference. I think Tennessee Tech, and they got players, but they're going to meet challenges more in and more out during the season playing in the SoCon. I wouldn't doubt if they don't struggle a little bit. I think Mercer's going to do well. I think it's possible that East Tennessee State finishes higher than Tennessee Tech. It wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee Tech does not finish second, and may end up third. If it were me, I'd probably pick East Tennessee State over. And listen, they've got a quality coach too. Will Healy's fantastic.
Yeah, Will Healy is one of the younger coaches that has experienced, coached at Charlotte, FBS.
Yeah.
He's got a good pipeline in that area. Brandon, thank you for coming back on. I wasn't sure if the hand, foot, and mouth got you or not, but
I must have got AT&T fiber.
Talking Mercer ahead of Tennessee Tech. Mercer's going to have a quarterback they brought in there from ETSU to battle. Tennessee Tech, by the way, is going to have a QB1 battle. Their battle is going to be between Jackson Leatherwood, that was brought in to compete for that starting job. He's a big kid, too, real big kid, versus former Charleston Southern signal caller Zoltan Osborne. So that's going to be your 1-2 punch for Tennessee Tech there at quarterback. ETSU, they've got some things to work out, but I think Will Healy has got the job. And again, players moving all over the place, and they're having to deal with it every single year. And then Western Carolina, Kerwin Bell, the fall off there for when you lose a quarterback like they did, and they're going to have to replace them. It's 1 and 2. I think we can all agree is probably Mercer, Tennessee State, unless you're Coach Jackson, you may feel ETSU up there. But Brandon, your thoughts on 1 through 10?
Yeah, the problem is in the SoCon is one, it can lose to 6 or 7 in there,
Right.
and you go, oh, we've seen it. We've seen Mercer be, hey, that's going to be the clear cut team, and they go out there and they lay a big fat egg against a bottom half team in the conference. I heard coaches point about Tennessee Tech. They've played in the OVC where it's been one game a year they knew they had to win, for lack of a better term, to make it into the playoffs or to win the OVC. What does that look like when you have, 5 weeks in a row where there are conference games that you need to win? What does that look like when, you have, a Mercer or ETSU, Western Carolina, and Chattanooga, and I don't have their schedule pulled up in front of me. I could pull it up right there, but
his Wi-Fi won't let him.
Plays out, yeah. Too many windows open. I don't want to crash the internet again. But when you have that run go in there, it's easier when you go, okay, we know that we're going to be better than everybody but one team, and that's going to be the team we have to focus on in conference play. It's going to be a different beast for Tennessee Tech. ETSU, we mentioned Will Healy. Same with Kerwin Bell. These are very good coaches, and if you give them the right situation with the right quarterbacks, they can win ball games even if you don't expect them to. They could have, I would say, the lesser team, but with their coaching, they can will a quarterback or put a quarterback in a situation to win a football game. So that makes them dangerous week in, week out. Chattanooga is the one that it always feels like they should be up there. And they had a run, what was it, almost a decade ago, where they were okay. They're a playoff team, and this is going to be the resurgence of Chattanooga. They're getting back in there. They're going to make runs deep in the playoffs, and they just haven't been able to translate that. And, they're very close. I mean, they're 45 minutes, and, Nathan, we could joke about it as the Kennesaw State effect there too, where, you have another college program 45 minutes closer to Metro Atlanta that could just snipe your players, but that wasn't really ever an excuse for them. They have really good football over there in Chattanooga as well. They don't necessarily recruit that very well. They don't necessarily dip into the Metro Atlanta ranks. And what I was getting at with Joel Taylor and Mercer there and being able to navigate the Metro Atlanta football ranks in terms of high school is, you may look at a quarterback and he may be, at a team in the state of Georgia, we have 7 classifications. He may be at a 3A, a smallish school, and he still may be going Division I in the Power 5. You may look at the third cornerback on a 6A team, the second highest classification in the state of Georgia, and he's going major SEC. You can't gamble and miss on those.
Yeah.
If you spend all that time in that third cornerback, and then Georgia goes in and it's like, hey, we need a 6th cornerback, the kid's probably going to go to Georgia, and you missed out on all that time that you put in. So you got to be able to navigate that stuff, and I think it's really tough for a lot of these coaches. And for Mercer, they got a good one, Joel Taylor, and I think that's where Chattanooga has really struggled in getting into the Atlanta ranks and getting kids to come out there. It's a beautiful campus, great. Chattanooga's a fun city to be around.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame that they're not able to be one of those perennial powers, especially in the Southeast, that can make noise just by recruiting well.
Parker Awad looks like he's going to start there at Chattanooga, former JUCO. He spent the last 2 seasons at New Mexico, threw for 1,000 yards in 6 FBS starts. So maybe it can be a turnaround.
Hey, Brandon, I'm going to give you a true story before the new stadium. I call it the new stadium. It's been there for where Chattanooga plays. Their old stadium used to be on that campus, and one in one end zone, it went uphill in one end and downhill in the other. And the end that went down, I think the end that went uphill, there was a tree in the corner of the end zone that they just wrapped a mat around.
Oh, good. Was that your field goal post? You had to kick through.
It's the only field I've ever played on that had a damn tree on the field.
Get the tree and come
but
back.
it was in the end zone. Now,
Love
let
that.
me say this. Dude, did y'all watch the SoCon Media Days? Because Joel Taylor is man. He's hyped up. He's going to tell you we got a good team, and he's going to tell you we should win. And honestly, to Coach Wilder's credit, he acknowledged. He said, we had a good season last year. We come out. I think they won that first round playoff game, maybe. But anyway, they got smoked in against North Dakota, and he realized, and he even said it. We got to tighten up. We got to toughen up our schedule. We wasn't prepared when we went. So I think Coach Wilder will get it done, but I still think Tennessee Tech's in for a little bit of a rude awakening this year.
Yeah. Well, it should be fun. SoCon's going to be a fun conference to watch, and this conference is also going to be fun to watch. Southland SFA has had a monster recruiting over the last couple of years. They brought in a bunch of transfers. They're the clear favorite there at number 1. Southeast Louisiana, though, quietly stayed on their heels all last year, and it came down to a race. Don't count Frank Cefalo and that staff out. He has been such a legendary coach there. But it seems like it's SFA's conference to lose. Lamar at Pete Rossamondo doing some great things. They also get a first place vote. You guys are in love with UTRGV. McNeese State behind them. Incarnate Word has fallen down, as well as Nicholls State, East Texas A&M, Houston Christian, and Northwestern State there at the bottom. We love Coach Colby Carthel, Frank Cefalo, Pete Rossamondo. They may have the best coaches there in the Southland, Coach Jackson. Your thoughts here on Media Day release preseason poll for the Southland Conference?
Man, I'll make this one quick. SFA, and I got nothing else to say. They are going to be fantastic. Their defense is going to be lights out. You're going to have some folks coming with if you're playing them, I'd bring plenty of ice.
Hey. Sam Fidlak is gone, Brandon. They're bringing in Gavin Rutherford, who was a redshirt sophomore, played behind Vidlak, has some experience. Again, you're missing your quarterback, but tons of talent there, especially in the backfield for SFA.
About 3 or 4 years ago, Colby Carthel joked with us that if he doesn't win with the talent that he has, he was going to get fired. He won enough not to get fired. I think if we had him on, he would say the same thing, that if they don't win with the talent that they have in there, he should get fired. And I don't advocate for guys to get fired, but I would be in line to agree with that. On paper, and again, this is all on paper, getting off the bus, Stephen F. Austin should be clear-cut number 1. I want to know the 2 that voted for Sela. I want to know the 1 that voted for Lamar in there. And going back to the thing, put your name on it if you're that confident in it. I think Stephen F. Austin has the most talented roster. Will it translate? Yet to be seen. It's going to be interesting. Quarterback getting the nod after being the backup. We'll see how he performs, especially early in the season. Some interesting, storylines in there. I mean, can Sela replicate? We'll see. But this is always a conference that late in the year they have some oddly meaningful games. I don't think it's going to come Stephen F. Austin's way, because to close out the year they have RGV and then Northwestern State. Those should be 2 victories that, if they do what they need to do, they should be able to close out. Especially they close out the season with Northwestern State. They should be able to get guys healthy going in potentially to the playoffs, or you may get a bye out of that as well. So your damage is going to have to come in to a really tough stretch, but you have Incarnate Word, then a bye week, and then you go on the road to the Thibodaux to play Nicholls, and then you get home games versus Southeastern Louisiana and then Houston Christian, which won't mean anything to them as well. And then they go on the road to that Lamar. So their schedule shapes out really well for the Lumberjacks there as well.
Lamar's got Aiden McCown coming back. Well, they brought in this kid, Evan Bullock, and apparently there's a good quarterback battle between McCown and Bullock there for Lamar. The rest of the conference, do better. You know what I'm saying? Do better. McNeese, Incarnate Word, Nicholls, and they lost a lot of players. East Texas A&M, a lot better name than East Texas UT Commerce, whatever it is.
UT A&M Commerce.
Yeah, UT A&M Commerce. Yeah, I like East Texas A&M better, but
Yeah.
Northwestern State. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, Zach McKinnell popped in with a comment, possibly a quietly a SLC Offensive Player of the Year, Evan Bullock, as we mentioned there at Lamar. So watch out for that. Good stuff coming out of the Southland. Let's move on. We've been going for almost an hour. We're going to have to roll through this next one as we look upsy-daisy. Our Southland outlook, we're going to go ahead and jump in here because we've just done their media day. We're going to not really talk about this, but Stephen F. Austin, their returners, Southeast Louisiana, the Lions, Lamar, Nichols, McNeese, they've got some stuff to do there in the bottom of that conference. No surprise there for SFA, though, and CELA. Should be fun to watch as we move into our CAA media days and their preseason poll. You've got Rhode Island at the top, Monmouth, Elon, New Hampshire, Stony Brook, Towson, Maine, Campbell, Bryant, Sacred Heart, new to the conference, Albany, North Carolina A&T, and my poor Hampton Pirates down there dead last. Devin Farrell is legit for the CAA and Rhode Island. Look for them and Marquez Buchanan to do a lot of damage.
Stony Brook.
Huh?
Who voted for Stony Brook?
Yeah, I mean, but Rhode Island, I think, is going to be extremely tough. They can't get bounced out of the conference or the playoffs early if they make it. Hopefully, there's some better competition with Monmouth. Of course, Kevin Callahan no longer there, the head coach there. Elon with Tony Trigiani, we really like what he's doing. New head coach there at New Hampshire. Stony Brook's got some returning pieces. Any surprise here, Coach Jackson?
Now, Rhode Island's they're going to boat race everybody in that conference. I think they are. I'm going to go ahead and give them some locker room material so they can so they'll be ready. But I think they're kind of a paper champion. I think they'll be 11-1 and get roasted in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but for as far as the conference, dude, Rhode Island's going to run away with this one.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think you just got so many pieces coming back. But the roadies, Brandon, they tend to have a couple of stumbles in the season, especially at Towson, and you can't lose those kind of games because you kind of feel like Monmouth's going to be right there with the talent pool that they've got. As also Elon, I really like what Elon's doing with some of their folks that are coming back. Your thoughts on the preseason poll?
Now, if Rhode Island does not win the conference running away, they don't deserve to be a playoff team. They'll get one in. The CAA will get one in. They have to get one in. If it's not Rhode Island doesn't deserve to be in there.
And it's
not in that large, not in any other thing. I don't care if every other team in FCS gives up football to get Rhode Island in there. If they do not win the CAA, they should Notre Dame it and say, you know what, we don't deserve this. We're not doing this.
We're not going to go.
They should run through this conference. And if they don't, that says more about the team assembled and the staff assembled than what needs to be said. And I think it would speak for itself.
Yeah, this is our CAA outlook. Rams poised to dominate. New head coach Sam Goldrich there at New Hampshire trying to build his legacy, looking for the Phoenix to rise, and post-Callahan era there starts in Monmouth. But it is all Rhode Island talk around the CAA. And what Brandon, I'm going to mention, this is a conference just a couple years ago where we're talking 2-3 teams in the playoffs. And just what has happened to the CAA, and I know we seem like we bring it up every week, but it's really a shocker. It really is a shocker what's going on. I know the regionality may benefit some of these teams as you're on the East Coast, but just the demise of a conference, a powerful conference at one time.
No, they gambled and they said, hey, we're going to try to position ourselves to be an elite conference. And remember, they changed from the Colonial. They started adding all these other teams. No, we're going to be the Coastal. They had, flip a couple of letters on ACC views, ACC vibes about them that, hey, we're going to be more than we're going to be able to get the whole Eastern Seaboard and be in our conference. And everybody looked at them and said, nah, we're good. We're good. for basketball, remember, for everything the CAA was in football, they were a very, very good basketball conference.
Absolutely.
They were throwing mid-majors in there like crazy. They were sometimes a too big. Like the bubble teams would sometimes include a second CAA team if the top seed didn't win the tournament. That's how powerful that conference was. But they just kept making misstep after misstep and just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah. All right. Well, up next, we've got Pioneer League. We're rolling through this one. Media Days, San Diego and Drake. They had a great battle there for the towards the end of the season. The Toreros and the Bulldogs. St. Thomas, Dayton, Butler, Marist, Presbyterian, Morehead State, Davidson, Stetson, and Valparaiso wind out the preseason poll here for the Pioneer League. And let me tell you, it's a kind of a fun league to watch. It was a photo finish last year with San Diego. Three-time defending champion Drake split the first place votes. Meanwhile, St. Thomas slotted there. Brandon, I know you love the Tommies and what they're doing. Drake's got a brand new head coach there looking to take the reins. Matt Walker is their head coach there. Looks like a head coach. And then you got teams like Marist that took some steps in the right direction. The Red Foxes really trying to climb over like a Butler and a Dayton. And Dayton got a lot of really good publicity last year, had a nationally televised game and got absolutely blown out on national television. Didn't do them any favors, but they do return some pieces. But it still looks like it's San Diego, Drake, and the Tommies coach there at the top of the Pioneer.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the Blue Hose do without their coach Englehart that's gone on to West Georgia. And actually, I guess for me, I'm excited to see that. I think Dayton's got a wide receiver that's on the Bolitnikoff list, but I'll be excited to see him play. But yeah, it's the same as it old talking head song, same as it ever was, or whatever. It's still gonna be San Diego and Drake.
So you're talking about Dayton Flyers. They have Gavin LaChow, who is on that Walter Payton list, and Michael Massari. Both of those wide receivers, their top wide receivers, are back. And their quarterback, Bryce Schondelmeyer, returns after throwing 16 touchdowns last year, 0 interceptions. Both of those guys are returning back. And defensively, the top 2 tacklers are gone for the Flyers, so there's some questions there. But they do have Mirko Jaksic, who is a Buck Buchanan Award potential. So don't count out Dayton. We were talking about Drake. They lose Nick Herman, who led the team in rushing last year, but they do return safety J.R. Flood, who could possibly play at the next level there for Drake. Defenses win championships, in my opinion. So you highlight the good. But it should be interesting. San Diego, just kind of top 10 finish for them. They ended on a 5-game win streak. Brandon, coming into this league, they feature one of the top offenses in the Pioneer League. Adam Critter is a name to watch out. He's seeking that 1,000-yard season for the first time after falling just short in 2025. But he led the league in rushing touchdowns. So San Diego with a stout running game. There we go. All right. Let's see.
Really quickly.
Yes, sir.
Really quickly. The problem with San Diego and Drake is they're non-con. They don't play anybody. I think we'll get a really good view of St. Thomas. They play September 5th in Grand Forks against the Fighting Hawks. We'll learn a lot about this team if they're able to compete against North Dakota. They also play at home. They get Southern Utah to come in. We'll learn a lot about this team on September 19th about St. Thomas. And then conversely for Dayton, you mentioned the talent that they have. They go on the road to Richmond. They play EKU. We'll learn a lot about that team given on that Saturday. That's September 19th also. So I think a lot of the Pioneer, we don't get a good gauge of them because they don't really play anybody. They play a lot of D2 and AIA in the non-con. Well, you have a couple of these teams outside of San Diego and Drake, the 2 favorites, that are going to play really good competition that should destroy them, theoretically, scholarship versus non-con. If St. Thomas is able to hang in those 2 non-conference games, if Dayton's able to compete or hang with EKU, that could say a lot about how these teams could compete in the Pioneer League.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Should be fun to watch as we're winding down the show, gentlemen. I got this final big question for you. As the FBS increasingly prioritizes a lucrative exclusive super division model, is staying in the FCS actually becoming the pure, more authentic way to experience college football, or is it just an acceptable mindset of we're just a different level and being left behind? And Coach Jackson, your thoughts. Give me what you think about these FCS teams that are staying. Is it the purity, or is it just the acceptance of, hey, we're just not that level, so be it?
Well, everybody's got to get in where they fit in. Not everybody is fit for FBS football. I don't think I mean, you can look at maybe the rosters and see a talent discrepancy, but I think the majority of the schools that play at FCS is because of the purity, the regionality, and to be able to compete for a championship. I've seen that comment made by several
Good point.
recruits during this off season. Is that if you play for I don't know, somebody that's going to get cooked, Rice, you're not going to play for a championship, not for a national championship. So the ability to play for a national, competitors like competition. And the ability to play for a national championship, I believe, is what drives the teams that are in the FCS.
Brandon, we had one of the greatest national championship games seen by millions in the FCS in a long time. Is that purity level of football kind of taken hold on hopefully some FCS? I mean, our numbers are continued to grow. Thanks to all the fans, by the way. Like and subscribe. You guys in the comment section have been fantastic. A lot of SFA fans in there. But yeah, Austin 4252 just says, I would much rather play for a chance to win a national championship instead of playing for the Land O'Lakes Butter Bowl. We've made that comment, but the purity of football and the purity of a college football experience, is it kind of is that really something that these teams are vying for, that purity, or is it we're just accepting that we're not that level?
Yeah, I don't know. In the sense of I'm really weird. In the way that I consume college football, I love the FCS national championship game. And the way it was played, from start to finish. I also loved Miami, Indiana. I mean, I think those were two really pure college football games in the sense of you're putting it on a quarterback to win a football game, and quarterbacks at the college level are questionable. Kickers are nothing's given. You can give a quarterback, the ball trailing by a touchdown with a minute and a half left, and it could either be a pick six on the very first play, or he can go down and give his team a chance to win a football game. I rewatched the 2007 Fiesta Bowl between Boise State and Oklahoma just for gigs. And it's just we still capture that in college football no matter what the level is. I think for the FCS, and the reason why FCS fans are growing has nothing to do with the Saturday. I think it has to do with Sunday through Friday. I think
Right.
they're tired of a lot of the ancillary BS that goes on with the FBS level, and it becomes so hard now to tune out from it because, I mean, ESPN, that's all they talk about in a sense. It's either the Cowboys, the Yankees, or some FBS drama. It's
Yeah.
all thrown in your face. You turn on things like YouTube and you're consumed with On Three, Josh, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's good exposure, but these guys are rarely talking ball there. I'm really close with a guy who is a great football mind, Brooks Austin, the film guy. He's growing, and he's been on Feinbaum. He's growing. He just talks X's and O's, and if you appreciate that, I think that's what people get about the FCS level. They may not know the names, but if you are tuning in to a podcast specifically about the FCS, whether it's us or some other ones, more often than not, you're learning about things that you didn't know, players you didn't know, but also you're getting some X's and O's in there that you may not have known. And that's what I think we try to bring to the table, bring some X's and O's there. And there are others that do it well there as well. So I think that's where the purity, for lack of a better term, comes in with the FCS. I think for a lot of programs, I mean, it's a business decision. North Dakota State, I mean, would you like to win for a national championship? Or if they lose to Jacksonville State on week 0, their season is done. They're playing potentially to play in Boise at the, not to joke about the Land O'Lakes Butter Bowl, but if they lose to Jacksonville State, their goal is to play in the Potato Bowl.
Right.
I mean, but for them, they'll say this is the move that we need to make because fans stopped showing up. They were leaving, this, that, and the other. I can't fault them for doing it, but they're crazy if they think they're playing for a national championship. I'll be 100% honest with them. There is no scenario out in this world where North Dakota State is going to get, a perennial invite to potentially play for a national championship at the FBS level. That's not happening. None of the proposals will even include that, to where every G6 team gets a bid in there. So more often than not, you're just playing for what? To try to upset somebody, maybe get, the Las Vegas Bowl, this, that, and the other. So if the financials work for them, I can't fault them. But I also think a lot of the motivation is it's easier to be on the higher floor when the building collapses than on the lower floor. I think that's a lot of their belief in thinking. But in terms of what we see on the field, I think, college football is beautiful and it's pure. It's just the minutia around it, and I think that's where the FCS does a better job of not. There's a lot of minutia. I mean, we're waiting until we get our first preview of the seeding for the playoff. There'll be a lot of minutia there, but it's not a Monday through Friday thing. I think the game, the football speaks for itself at the FCS level.
And I think for me, it's dividing that professional football versus collegiate football. Miami versus Indiana was a professional football game. Montana State versus Illinois State was a collegiate football game. I mean, that to me, that's what made it different. And I loved watching. Listen, I watched NFL. I watched some of the spring football. I watched Canadian football. I watch whatever. But it comes down to what is collegiate football. Those players who are playing for the love of the game, who have an opportunity to, for 4 years, give it all on the football field and go make a living being a banker. Those guys, for the love of Taylor Hinkle for Kennesaw State, we know him well, Brandon. He played for the love of the football game and moved on, married, kids, doing whatever. And those are the kind of athletes I think about when I think of college football. And I think you're missing that at the FBS level. They're already professional football players. These aren't collegiate football players anymore. The joke has been in for a long time. They don't even have to attend classes. These FCS kids have to attend classes. They have to go to classes, and they've got to make the grade, and they've got to be a student first rather than athlete. So,
yeah, and we can look in the comments there from G6FB_247 talking about North Dakota. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. For North Dakota, they may not win another national championship for the next 30 years. What does that do for their program? It doesn't matter. They made a decision that they feel that it's best for them. Now, what they have to worry about also is you could be the next Boise State, where people are talking about, oh man, they are on the cusp of something. They're perennially ranked. Or you can be Bowling Green, where nobody cares.
Eastern
except for
Michigan.
the small fan base that they have. That's the gamble that you run there if you're North Dakota State. And for them, they had to make a decision that they were willing to take that gamble, given the fact that fans were leaving at halftime. They weren't showing up to home playoff games because it wasn't good enough anymore. Well, the grass isn't always greener. A lot of these programs that, made the move. I mean, James Madison, finally, they got a bit of success, but there was a lot of people that did we make the right move? Appalachian State. Okay, we see James Madison now getting that, like, where's ours? Did we make the right move? It's not always just, we need to prove ourselves and test and become a power. You have to understand that the football at the FBS level has very little to do with the football. Like, this is a business that we're dealing with there. And that's what the difference of the FCS and the FBS. The FBS is a business. It's the football business subdivision. It is. The FCS is football played on the field, and that's where you will always be. It's a meritocracy. You win, you have a chance to get in there. FBS isn't that way.
Yeah. Good stuff. Coach, final thoughts for you?
Well, I was just going to add what Brandon said. Think about a program like Georgia Southern. Think if they had stayed in the FCS versus what they do now. For me, the FCS is interesting every week. The FBS is really only interesting to me about the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
There are plenty of FBS teams that are known more for their tailgating facilities than they are the product on the field. But you know what? It all makes the world go round. It all makes football great, and football's the best sport on the planet as far as I'm concerned. So it's all gravy.
Yeah, it is. And it's a sport we love, and that's why we talk about it. Hey, chat has been awesome. Thank you guys for participating. Austin and Chris and Kobe, and artistically incredible. Aggie76, welcome aboard. We'd love to have you. Steve Hotchkiss, also Austin4252. A couple of us, Brandon Haddock, of course, was there. Zach McKinnell jumped in and had some comments. Always great to see Zach. And who else did we have in here? Well, I'm missing somebody. Oh, the gentleman that just made the comment. G6 Football 247.
Wait, Coach disappeared, so now we get to make fun of him and his internet, right?
Okay, yeah. By the way, Mount Juliet internet.
I haven't disappeared. I'm technologically ignorant.
His lights went out.
I clicked on the all tabs button, and hang on here. I'm gonna come back, dadgummit.
No, you're not, because we're in the show. Coach Jackson, there he is.
There you go.
I hope you have a great weekend. Great rest of the week. It's Monday. We're going to do this again. We may start moving into Monday night. I know a lot of people have been saying that Friday afternoon was a little bit off, but we made it work because of my schedule and Brandon's schedule and Coach Ron's schedule. So, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Follow us on X, all the socials and all the good stuff. Thank you again. If you're watching this in replay, please leave a comment. Let us know who you support. Let us know a comment. Good, bad, and different. Like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It just lets you know when we go live, because sometimes we're all over the place. But we love FCS football. We love talking about FCS football. We want to bring the community of FCS football together in one place so we can talk. I've toyed with the idea of, and I started it tonight, doing a pregame show. 10 minutes before the show, maybe 5 minutes before the show, you DM me. I'll send you the link. Pop on. We'll come in early, just kind of shoot the breeze, FCS football, talk some stuff before we go live, sure enough, for the show. A little pregame stuff if you wanted to get some behind-the-scenes looks.
You're signing me up for more work?
No, you don't have to be. You don't join till 30 seconds before we go on anyways. We talk about it. But anyway, y'all have a great week. You guys are the best fans out there. Thank you guys so much. For Brandon Joseph, for Coach Ron Jackson, I'm Nathan McCreary. This has been the FCS Checkdown. Come on. Yeah, let's go.